Uncensored DC. It's nothing R-rated, though I suppose it depends on who you ask. Banned books. Some novels that have become ingrained in American culture have also been deemed controversial by the more traditionally minded citizens who find their ways of thinking threatened by popular books like The Catcher in the Rye and The Color Purple. DC Public Library is kicking off their third annual celebration of Banned Books Week with a scavenger hunt. True believers have been scouring bookstores and coffee shops throughout the city to find the some 400 copies of banned books hidden there. They get to take the book home for free if they find it, though the dust jackets make you feel like you're taking home something much more scandalous. We met with Linnea Hegarty from the Liberty Foundation. She's in charge of the program.
I was talking about it with one of my board members earlier this year, and he asked, so how do people get banned books when they're banned? How do they find them? They wrap them in a brown bag cover or something to make them unidentifiable, and then they slip them to a friend or a colleague under a table, under a bar, in some hidden way. And we really liked that idea. And tried to find a way to incorporate that into our celebration, and then we got to the scavenger hunt. We were doing research on banned books and realized that there's a lot of documented reasons that sort of don't make a lot of sense. For example, A Separate Piece was called a filthy, trashy sex novel. And if you know the book A Separate Piece, which I haven't read it in a long time, but when I read it in the 11th grade, I'm pretty sure I didn't think it was a filthy, trashy sex novel. So, and The Catcher in the Rye being labeled anti-white, it's about a privileged white boy in prep school. So the idea that that would be anti-white just to us was really incongruous, and we wanted to kind of bring that out and really show people, some of the oddities that happen around Banned Books Week.
Yes, I loved Catching the Rye. When I was in high school, we read Perks of Being a Wallflower, and that's like a very controversial book because it speaks out of like difficult or like controversial topics, such as like homosexuality, drug use, all that jazz. But like as a young lesbian, like that was very important for me to read about that because it made me deal with like uncomfortable topics, that I wouldn't have been like had to have read otherwise. Yeah.
In fact, the Holy Bible was the sixth most banned book last year, banned or challenged book last year. So the library is not sort of what people think is this buttoned up, staid place where you have to be quiet and whisper and just look at your book in a corner somewhere. That it's a raucous place where we're doing cool stuff all the time, and we're very inclusive, and we're always coming up with great ways to celebrate our community and books and reading and culture. And so that was really the goal with the scavenger hunt in particular, was to really sort of draw attention to that alternative side of the library.